How's it going, people? Welcome back to CntrlAltTech. Today we're going to show you that actually, you know what, getting the iPhone 13 Pro is not a bad deal in 2023. So yes, while the iPhone 14 lineup are selling pretty well with the regular 14 and 14 Pro models, you know, it's selling well, but there's good reason to consider the iPhone 13 lineup. I mean, let's be real, the body is basically the same, it looks the same. Apart from say the colors of the phone, but generally speaking it looks the same. I mean, chip wise, you're not going to notice too much difference. I mean, let's be real, Apple's chips, they have smashed it with their silicon chips and they're very powerful. But you see the A15 to say the A16, you're not going to notice that jump that a regular person won't really see a major change in the everyday user experience. The iPhone 14 Pro Max has 29 hours of video playback and the iPhone 14 Pro has 23 hours of video playback. But the iPhone 13 Pro Max has 28 hours of video playback and the iPhone 13 Pro has 22 hours of video playback. And MagSafe charging, which is the same on the iPhone 14 and 14 Pro lineup. This is still pretty impressive battery life for a smartphone. So unless you are a pro user, I think the average person won't really realize and see that major difference between the A15 chip and the A16 chip. They both work well. And to be honest with you, even the camera is the same story. Like, you won't... Okay, let's be real. The iPhone 14 Pro Max cameras are obviously going to be better than the last year's model, the 13 Pro lineup. But to be honest with you, again, it's still good enough. The 13 Pro is still good enough in this day and age. You know, if you're someone that's been handing down this phone, you know, it's actually a good deal, like in 2023. I mean, you have the ultra-wide and telephoto lens. You've got night vision with LiDAR. You know, you've got cinematic mode, so you've got those things. And you know, okay, the iPhone 14 Pro might have action mode, and you know, you can still shoot ProRes with the iPhone 13 Pro lineup. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. The iPhone 13 Pro lineup and even the regular 13 are actually very good deals in this day and age. I mean, an iPhone 14 Pro, not even the Pro Max, at 128 gigabytes in any color comes to £1,099. Whereas if you go on Apple's refurbished site, for the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro, a lot of them are discounted, but even third-party stores would also have 13 Pro models, even the regular 13 at a pretty decent price, to be honest. So yes, the iPhone 14 Pro does have a 48 megapixel camera, and theoretically that does represent a better camera, but generally speaking, I think for most people, they will not really see the real difference on a day-to-day basis. It's those pro users. If you are a pro user, then yeah, I understand getting a 48 megapixel camera from, you know, purchasing the iPhone 14 Pro. But if you're deciding to get one over the other, I really think if you're just a regular person, you know, using a phone on a regular basis, that's just doing average tasks on your phone, just normal tasks on an iPhone, then I really think that the standard 12 megapixel is a good enough camera for your purpose. So guys, the real difference between the iPhone 14 Pro lineup and the iPhone 13 Pro lineup is that dynamic island, which I must say is a great piece of software engineering. Now, for some people, they would think this is an incredible feature and they would feel like this is a good upgrade to invest in. I also agree with that. It all comes down to how much you care about things like dynamic island. So the iPhone 13 Pro does not have dynamic island. Is that a deal breaker to you? Well, that depends on you. That depends on your utility, whether you consider that enough of an upgrade. I do like dynamic island. I'm not going to hide away from that. I do like dynamic island. But guys, let's be real. The iPhone 13 Pro and even the regular 13 represents a great deal in this day and age with cheaper price points. It honestly might be worth considering the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro. Let's not forget that the regular iPhone 13 Pro still is a great display with that ProMotion technology, So you're going to still get a seamless experience. And you know the other great thing about the iPhone 13 Pro, even the 13, and just older iPhones in general, they are supported by Apple through software updates. So you're going to get all of the stuff just announced at WWDC 2023, which you can find in this video here. But yeah, you're going to be able to get all the great software updates, and it's going to feel like another coat of paint on your phone, which is great, to be honest. Guys, let's get this straight here. I think the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13 represent a really good, cheaper alternative with lots of power, lots of potential, you know, still a very good camera, very good specs. You know, it's still a very good deal in this day and age. You know, the design is basically the same as the iPhone 14. If you look at the kind of the thick body, the thick chassis, you know, it's still very, very similar. The only major redesign for the iPhone 14 Pro is that dynamic island. So I would say, if you're not interested in the latest design, having the latest thing like dynamic island, you know, you're not interested in that kind of 48 megapixel camera and things like the always on display, at least consider the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro lineup. Because the iPhone 13, the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro Max are still great phones, delivering incredible performance. These phones just might be the right fit for you. So guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe so you do not miss a single of our videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.